Hi, my name is Homai, and I've written the story for children between the age groups of 4 and 11. Once there was a dog who was about to litter at any time, but the owners had to go abroad, so they left her at a pet boutique. While giving birth to her pup, she died. You see, she had such a happy family. All of a sudden, to be abandoned at a time like this left her heartbroken. Due to this, there was nobody to look after me. But the owner's daughter took a fancy to me. Her parents warned her that she cannot look after me always, only till somebody could come and adopt me. After 2 weeks, I used to run helter-skelter. All of a sudden, one day, I bumped into something with such force that I went flying. When I looked up, I saw a girl with the most beautiful brown eyes and long golden hair. She picked me up and asked her brother, "How do you like him?" From behind, I heard a sound, "Don't touch, it'll bite." That was that girl's mother. "Who, me? Me bite?" The owner told her I was the sweetest dog in the shop. The girl's name was Emily, and the boy's name was Josh. After checking my pedigree papers, they decided to take me home. I could not stop wagging my stubby tail in happiness. A home of my own. But before I got into the car, they put a sheet in case I messed it up in my excitement, which I did. Mom did not seem too happy to see me or to have me. When we reached home, I saw a beautiful basket bed which they had made for me. After that, tying my collar and putting on the leash, took me out into the compound and explained to me that I should not miss the compound, but to do it on a sheet of paper. For the life of me, I could not do it on the sheet of paper. I messed the whole place up. But Dad was so sweet. He said, "Don't worry, you will get the hang of it." When I watched the other dogs, I sure got the hang of it. I was a very clever pup. I used to put my paw out when I had to have food. And when I went to the door to go out, I used to bark. And I woke the whole house up. One place I was not allowed to go was the kitchen. But that was the place from where the most beautiful aroma used to come. Our house was on a farm. I used to scamper helter-skelter, sometimes chasing the chickens, at other times the geese chasing me. When I was passing one day, I came across a beautiful horse. Emmy told me its name was Majesty. After that, I made any excuse to go to the stables and be with Majesty. One day it started raining. I was so tired, so I went to sleep on the straw. And I heard, oh my God, what was that? Oh, that was just thunder. And I heard Amy's voice, Josh's voice, calling me desperately. They came searching for me and saw me in the stable. Josh started laughing. I was wondering what happened. He called his father and mother, and they saw me cozily in the straw sleeping. After that, Dad said that he would take me for a ride on the horse. Next day on the cardboard box, I was kept in the cardboard box, and I felt so nice with the breeze blowing all over me. And I was so happy. It was the happiest day of my life. In the evenings, Emmy, Josh, and I would go and sit under the mango tree. Josh would climb the tree to get some mangoes. I love mangoes. And Emmy would lie down. And I saw Emmy. So my head, the body started standing. I didn't know why. And when I saw something going to Emmy, I bit it with force, and it turned around and bit me. The only thing I knew was when I awoke, I was on Mummy's lap. Mom was crying. Mom loved me. I was so happy. Everybody came to visit me. I think I must have been doing something very brave because people took my photograph even. Oh, I forgot to tell you my name. My name is Puggy. Bye for now. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Very well done, Homai. Just
Thank
a few seconds beyond 5 minutes. Thank you very much for that lovely story about the pup and the horse. Now I would like to invite Sujata Mundra to please tell us her story.
Good morning, one and all. My dream. I was just 11 years old. My school summer holidays had just begun. My parents were traveling on work to Hong Kong and Japan. I read an article in the newspaper Statesman in the sports edition that a tennis camp was being organized by Jaideep Mukherjee and Premjit Lal, the Davis Cup players, at Calcutta Gymkhana. My eyes brightened up and I was sure I really wanted to join. As a child, I used to follow tennis in Sports Week, in the sports edition of the newspaper, and on television. I had made a scrapbook with cuttings of my favorite tennis stars, John McEnroe, Borg, Chris Evert-Lloyd, Tracy Austin, Connors. So I asked my grandfather, Dadaji, I want to join this tennis camp. And he immediately encouraged me and I signed up. It was a 10-day camp with 6 to 7 hours of training every day. I did not have a racket, so I had to borrow a racket from my uncle. Those days, it was a wooden racket with a wooden compress on it. My tennis coaching started, and towards the end of the camp, a tournament was organized in different age groups, and I was just 11 then. So I won. I was a winner in my age group, and I started dreaming. I wanted to be a tennis star. I got enrolled in Calcutta South Club. Again, a dream to get trained where most of your Davis Cup stars have been nurtured. My training started at 5 a.m. on a regular basis, 6 days a week. Gradually, I started playing tournaments. Endurance word was hammered into my brain and from a very early age. And I was fortunate that I was well coordinated and I got the rhythm on the tennis court very, very easily. Of course, I had to work very, very hard on it. Physical fitness was very, very important. While training, we had to hit 6 balls and then take a round around the tennis court and come and hit another 6 balls. So it was a lot of endurance training. My coach, Panchuda, used to say, greater the effort, greater the value. My parents were in Japan, and back in those days, we only had ISD, and I could speak to them very seldomly. So when I managed to speak to them, I told them that I won this tournament and I wanted a Donne racket, the latest fiberglass one. I had no clue about the price. Since my dad was busy in some meeting, he asked one of his colleagues to pick it up, and he picked it up for me. And I was so happy when I received that racket because it was the same racket with which my hero Borg was playing then. But my dad was angry at me because it was ridiculously expensive. At one tournament, I had injured my little finger, but I refused to pull out of the tournament. I got to the semis, I played right through to the end, and I defeated my opponent 6-4 in the final set. The adrenaline made me forget about my pain. I was proud of myself. So you can put mind over matter, and if you want something badly enough, no sacrifice is too great. This tournament was truly a turning point, and I was picked up by Akhtar Ali, the national coach of India then. I started training under him, and my game improved by leaps and bounds. All the state players were in this group. My school, Modern High, was very supportive, and I was given time off to join these camps. Tennis taught me a lot of discipline, and I used to study on a regular basis, so I never had undone portions before my exams. Even before my mother used to get up in the morning, I was away for my coaching. I was very focused on my game and never missed a single day of my training. Years went by, and I started playing a lot of tournaments on weekends. For me, everything was just tennis. But I had a few limitations. I belonged to a conservative family. Though I was allowed to take part in city tournaments, I was not allowed to travel to other cities. So I did lose out on this. Only got to play the other state players when they came to Kolkata. After my class 10 board exams, I went on a school trip abroad to Europe and USA. And my entire shopping was just tennis gear, shoes, socks, rackets. Even those days, even Adidas shoes were not available in India. So you can imagine. Tennis taught me to be a true sportsman. It taught me to exist only in the moment. I had to take each point as it came on the court. I always appreciated the skill of the opponents, but did have rage when they aced me.
Sujata, you need to end.
My best match of my tennis life was when I was 17 years old. I lost to Sonali Mukherjee, who then represented India in Women's Wimbledon Juniors. My dream of reaching Wimbledon was over. I was very upset, but realized I had limitations. Tennis taught me that in life one should always accept challenges and give your best. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata. You exceeded by about a minute, but it was a good story. Personal stories are always so close to the heart. And so when it comes from your heart, they always have a special appeal. So thank you very much for the costume. You're already the sportswoman in you has come out. And thank you for the messages and the determination that came through your story. Thank you very much. Now I call upon Raji Rajesh to tell us her story. Raji?
Okay, before that, I have a small announcement to make. So when somebody is telling on their story, they're all telling their story, they are spotlit and they are seeing themselves. And in a Zoom, any message you send to everybody comes there. So when Sujata is telling a story and everybody else is chatting in the common chat room, it distracts her. So kindly avoid telling people anything. If you have to tell somebody something specific, please do it in private mode. It is very distracting for the storyteller because their attention for a minute goes from there because this is all popping up there. We can't help it that the waiting room updates might come. But otherwise, any chat, how you are, other things, how you feel, kindly do not do that. I will be spotlighting Raji now. I request everyone to please understand and follow that because that can be a big distraction for the person saying. 1 second. Spotlight. You have to
I have unmuted myself.
You have to give
Can
your
you hear
video,
me?
then I can spotlight.
Yeah, can you hear me first?
Raji, can you please switch on your video?
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, then only I can spotlight you. You can just get on to your job. Yes.
Is my audio all right?
You're good to go, Raji. Please begin.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat, Hara Brahma, Tasmai Sri, Gurave Namaha. சூடிக் கொடுத்த சுடர்கொடியே தொல்பாவை பாடி அருளவல்ல பல்வலையாய் நாடினி வெங்கடவர்க்கு என்னை விதி என்ற நாம் கடவா வண்ணமே நல்கு. O the one who wore flower garlands to the Lord, who gave flower garlands to the Lord after wearing them herself, you gave us Tirupavai, which describes the austerity observed by young maidens. You prayed to Manmadan, the Lord of Love, to enjoin you with Lord Venkateshwara. Help us to abide by the same path. Hello, I am Rajalakshmi, the daughter of Thinniyam Seshasai Venkatesan. My father hails from a small village called Thinniyam near Trichy. The prayer that I recited was the Thaniyan written by Sri Ramanujar on Sri Andal. What I am going to narrate today is her story. And it is also my story. And it is the story of every little girl who lives in Srirangam, a quaint little town near in Trichy. அப்பா எங்க காணோம்? இன்னும் வரவே இல்லையே. மாலையெல்லாம் தொடுத்து ரெடியா இருக்கே. எப்போ தொடுத்து வைக்க சொன்னார்? நாழியை எடுத்து இன்னும் வரலையா? எவ்வளவு அழகா வந்திருக்கு இந்த மாலை. அவருக்கு எவ்வளவு நன்னா இருக்கும். சீக்கிரம் வரணுமே, நாழியான் இருக்கே. அவர் வேற காத்துட்டு இருப்பாரே. அப்பா எப்பவுமே இவ்வளவு நாழிய வரமாட்டாரே. அப்பா வந்து அப்பா இல்லப்பா, நான் இப்பதான் போட்டேன். இல்லப்பா, அவருக்கு எப்படி அப்பா அப்படியெல்லாம் சொல்லாதீங்கப்பா, இது அவருக்காக தான் தொடுத்தேன். அப்பா அப்பா இல்லப்பா, அவருக்காகவே நான் இத்தனை நாள் உங்களுக்கு தான் காத்துட்டு இருந்தேன். அப்பா அப்பா நான் என்ன பண்ணேன்? அப்பா சொன்னது தானே பண்ணேன். அப்பா அவரா சொன்னார்? எனக்கு தெரியும். நீங்க சொல்லி கொடுத்தது தானே நான் பண்ணேன். இந்த மாலையா நான் போட்டுண்டதையா? இந்தாங்கப்பா, உடனே எடுத்துன்னு போயிடுங்க. ரொம்ப நாழியா இருக்கு, அவர் காத்துட்டு இருப்பார். வாரணம் 1000 சூழ வலம் செய்து நாரணன் நம்பி நடக்கின்றான் என்றதும் பூரண பொற்குடம் வைத்து புறமெங்கும் தோரணம் நாட்ட கனா கண்டேன் தோழினான். That was Kodai, a young little girl who was her father's princess, and every young little girl in Srirangam whose dream is to become her father's princess. Thank you. I don't know.
Wonderful, Raji. You clocked in about 4 minutes and probably 10 or 15 seconds. So.
Thank God, I was worried only about the time. I would like to take that 30 seconds to thank someone, G.N. Pravina and Asha Sampath. Asha Sampath told me my story would find me, and G.N. Pravina helped me give form to the story, and my dance teacher Vidya, who's not here right now.
Okay, very nice.
Thanks. Once again, that is very nice. So nervous ஆகிறதுக்கு அவசியமே இருக்கல. Nervous ஆற மாதிரி நடிக்கிறேன், உங்களுக்கு தைரியம் இருக்குன்னு தெரியும். That helped. But that helped.
No, I had to prepare.
That little girl Andal, that thing helped. Good. So the next person, anybody who's come in new, I request you all not to message, because for the next person also, who is Mr. Ganesh, we do not want disturbance. So kindly do not message. Next time we will probably take a live out and so that the storytellers are not disturbed. More than normal talking, this will disturb them. இப்போ யாராவது வந்து ஐ எம் நர்வஸ்லாம் சொன்னா ராஜிக்கு வந்து அந்த இடத்துல it will cut a flow of being ஆண்டாள், that mono act piece. Okay, next person. Yes, Asha.
Yeah, the mono acting was very good. The role play using of the Tamil language was very nice, and the emotion, I think your theater workshop really helped. So it was
Acting
really
workshop
good.
by Kalairani ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So now I call upon Ganesh ji to please tell us his story. Ganesh ji, all yours.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity of giving this story. Calcutta, the fascinating city for many people. In fact, they say that if you have not lived in Calcutta, you will not be able to live anywhere. The city of joy, the city of emotion, the city of contract. You know, you can live with 3,000 rupees or even 30 rupees. And you can see the people in Alipur or New Alipur going very posh. You can recognize, oh, this is Birla's family, or this is Tata's family, like that. You come in the evening, oh, the same fellow may be going by rickshaw. What a beautiful city. And who can forget those songs? I get emotional. Let me not miss my story. So we four of us, myself, my friend Ramakrishnan, and Gopal, standing at the road of near our house. We can't go very far. All of us at the calling distance. Sorry, some interruption may be coming because some work is going on. They are delayed it, but it has come. Sorry for that. I hope I am audible. So while we are waiting for the carrier, we are standing on the road, and some are on the main road, some are on the main door. Some people have got admission in BSc, and some people have got in IIT, others are trying. See, those do it was common. You take any job as long as you're in Calcutta, and evening you join BA or BSc and BCom, then come up like that. Anyway, the focus is now on one Ramdas, who was also our friend, and we were discussing about him. Now, you know, Calcutta is full of multinationals. ICI, Johnson & Coulson, Metal Box, Imperial Tobacco, you name it, many of them are there. But you can't get directly to these multinational. You have to go through some small companies, get some experience over. While I'm talking about this, one of our friends, Mr. Ramdas, got a job in Dunlop. Dunlop, you know, is one of the biggest manufacturer of tire, the largest, in fact. J.B. Dunlop, John Boyd Dunlop, in fact, invented the pneumatic tire. So the headquarters is Calcutta. To get a job there is something lucky. So good, few months passed. My friend Ramesh is telling, you know, Ramesh, your Ramdas has left Dunlop. That's what I'm talking about. Giving a multinational job, your people are struggling to get any job. I don't know, he has left. Where has he gone? He has joined Calcutta Management Association. Oh, that's a statutory body. What is going to do there? My third friend Narayan was asking. See, you leave it to the people. Everybody may have their own choice. But you know, it is really bad to leave a company like Dunlop. What are you talking? Hey, Dunlop chali this, my person was hearing. Going on for some time. Few months passed. I heard Ramdas left CMA and joined Indian Cable Company as management training. So there you are on the mainstream. Looking back at it, see, Dunlop, he was an assistant. If you have continued in Dunlop as assistant, an assistant can never become an officer. We very common see, if you go to the ICI Dunlop, the toilet officers, assistants like that. It's a clear distinction. So this guy has seen an opportunity, go to Management Association, get in contact with many people, and join Indian Cable. Good for him. I jumped into Ramdas in one of those restaurants. I asked him, hey, Ramdas, how is the job? My immediate boss doesn't like me, but top man, chief sales manager, Kapoor, I very good for you. Now I am getting a news again after some time. Ramdas has left Indian Cable and joined Usha Wires and Cables. Usha Wires and Cable as export manager. So there you are. Having got the experience of cable, now he's come to the mainstream of international arena. Let him continue there. My friend Ramesh is telling, I don't know, this fellow keep on jumping in the job in a rolling stone like that. I should leave it to the people. People have different plans and maybe family pressure or, time pass. Or 6 months later, I heard Ramdas has left Usha Wires and Cable. Now he's at EPC, Engineering Export Promotion Council at Tehran. Those days 700 grade was a good grade, 700 to whatever is the thing. It's 33% extra allowance, duty free and whatnot. So here you are. See, for anyone, when you look at the insect or something, it is moving from here. And as it is moving here, you are not able to see what is on that side. So it starts a jump here. So when you come to this side, you can able to see what is here, the opportunity. Jump there. And in that jumping, there is some risk involved. And that is you have to take that. Between the age of 25 and 31, you have to take risk. So my slogan is, not taking the risk itself is the greatest risk of all. You have to take it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ganesh ji. You exceeded your time by about maybe 30 seconds, almost close to a minute actually.
I'll take 30 seconds to wish everybody. Can I take 30 seconds?
You done actually. It is now
everybody.
6 minutes. Thank you very much for the slice of life, Calcutta life, and your the story of your friend. Thank you very much, and we really enjoyed it. Now I call upon Nina Reddy to please regale us with her story. Nina, all yours.
I killed my grandfather. The year was 1969. I was 9 years old, and I still remember that evening very vividly. I was playing four stones with a whole bunch of my friends. They were all children from my grandfather's house. My grandfather had this beautiful house, and there was a lovely pond there, and there were about 20 children around, or more than that. And then I was playing this game called Four Stones. The time was 5 o'clock in the evening, and I was having the time of my life. And suddenly, someone from inside of the big house comes running out. Papa, 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 come back inside. There's something terrible has happened to your grandfather. My grandfather had not been well for some time, but he was recovering. He was recovering from a heart attack, and everyone was at home. My mother, my mother's sister, my mother's brother, my grandmother, and a couple of other aunts and uncles and older people around. I ran inside, and what do I see? I see my handsome, gentle, beautiful grandfather just lying there, just sleeping there. And my grandmother, the most gentle, the most generous, the sweetest woman on this earth, she was sitting next to him, wailing away. Ellipothunava, Ellipothunava, Ellipothunava. And then I saw my mother. My mother was wailing away. And my aunt, the one that was really closest to, fully pregnant, was wailing away. And my uncle was just sitting there, not knowing what to do. These were the three siblings of my grandfather, and they were distraught. And this child that I was 9 years old, this was a scene I remember so vividly, and this was my first exposure to death. But there was a certain kind of guilt that was rising in me. I was wondering, did I kill my grandfather? I'm sure a lot of children have those doubts when they're growing up and they can't share it. That afternoon, my mother, who was cooking for my grandfather throughout the recovery days, had made his favorite soup, a beetroot soup. And then she called me. And then she called me to the kitchen and says, Nina, your grandfather loves you best, right? And then he really likes beetroot soup. Go and give it to him. Let him have this for lunch. From the kitchen to the dining table to the bedroom, I was carrying the soup. And when I was carrying the soup, there was a little poochie, little insect which you find it in, rice grains. That was creeping up from my hand onto the saucer of the cup. And with one hand, I just brushed off the insect. And then I took from the dining table, from the dining room into Tata's bedroom. And then I gave it to him. And Tata looked up at me and then he smiled at me, his gently beautiful smile. And then he had that soup. He had the whole cup of soup. And then everyone said, because Nina gave it to him, he had it. He loves her best. That was his last meal. And I thought I had killed my grandfather because it had something to do with that insect. I lived with that thought for many years, almost 15, 20 years. Almost 20 years later, I had gone back, I'd got married, and I'd gone back to my mother's house for my delivery. And then my little child was growing up there. The first 5 months I was with my mother. And there's a lot of sharing that I would do with my mother at that time. And then I asked her one day, I said, Ma, I need to tell you something. She said, what? Ma, I think I killed Tata. She said, what do you mean? Remember the time you gave me that beetroot soup that day afternoon to give it to him for lunch? When I was taking it, I saw that a little insect that was creeping up and I threw it away and I gave the soup. That day, grandfather died. Ma, you think I killed grandfather? And you know what my mother said? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, Nina. I said, what happened, Ma? Nina, before I gave you the soup, I saw a little black insect that was in the soup. And then I took it out with another spoon. And then I gave you the soup. You think I killed my father? These are the fears that all of us live with, unless we talk about it. It took me 20 years to overcome that fear. And I don't think I killed my grandfather. It was just a thought as a little child. But something changed in me that day. 3 things. I've never had beetroot soup. And I never played 4 stones with my friends after that. And the third thing is, at dusk, every day, even today, I keep myself completely occupied with happy thoughts. That's my story.
Perfect. On the dot, 5th minute. Lovely story. Again, a personal story. Love for your grandfather and living with guilt all those years in the corner of your heart. And then you're telling it to your mother and she feeling guilty. And the impact that incident has had on your life throughout. Now you don't have that beetroot soup. You do not play 4 stones. And then you decided and took a life decision to have just happy thoughts. Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking us through your personal story, Nina. That was lovely. Now, I call upon Raj to please share his story with us. Raj?
Raj, can you open your video? Yes, I'm requesting you to open your video, please. Yes, Raj, spotlighted you. Unmute yourself. Having difficulties with that? Yeah, we'll wait, relax, yeah. Unmute yourself, please, Raj. Yes.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like acting up. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, cool. This story happened on a Saturday afternoon, maybe like 2 o'clock. I finished my work in Philly and I was heading back home to the city, New York City. I usually in good traffic, it's about 2.5 hours of drive. And it was a really gray, dull, dreary day. And I was hoping I just get home quickly before the rains come and before it gets dark by like 6. So I made pretty good time. And in about 50 minutes, I crossed Delaware Memorial Bridge. And I figured now I'm in Turnpike. So it's about an hour and a half from Turnpike. Let's just finish it over. It was just a dull day, gloomy, and I was in in the best of spirits. And suddenly my day changed. I perked up. I saw this little red convertible in front of me, and I love convertibles. It was a Mazda Miata. And I got excited. I said, let me check it out. So I zoomed up in my car, reached to the convertible, and lo and behold, it was actually a pretty Indian gal singing loudly in the convertible with the top down. And my day turned from gray to sunny and happy. And I said, wow, what an amazing thing. And I waved to her, she waved back, and I lowered the window in my car, and she was playing Desi beats. And I said, holy cow, this is an Indian gal in a convertible on New Jersey Turnpike, playing Desi beats, pretty to boot. And I said, wow, our kids are gonna be all right because she's pretty and I'm brainy, or at least I was at that time. And I said, oh, life is just beginning. And my spirit soared. And I said to myself, amazing. So I started singing the song loudly, and we started driving along each other on the highway. And sometimes we went behind each other. Sometimes she went ahead, I went ahead to pass the slow cars on the right lane, and life went merrily for about 30 minutes until we hit the first rest area. And then when I asked her, do you want to go to the rest area? She said, no, let's go straight. I said, you know, in Tamil, they say, Karumbu tinga kuliya. Let's drive another 40 minutes, and then we'll get a chance to meet her in the rest area that's upcoming. And I said, wow, let's do that. So the next 40 minutes went by in a jiffy, and I was thinking about the conversation I was going to have with my parents. Wow, I met this Desi girl in a Videsi land. You guys are going to be so happy. I was thinking about the stories I was going to tell to my grandchildren about how I met their grandmother. And I said, life is simply brilliant. So as always, time and tide wait for no one, and the rest area was upon us in about 40 minutes. It was about 40 miles away. So I pulled into her and I told her, I'm going to take this right. And she said, okay. And she fell 2-3 cars behind me. I figured she was following me. So I said, cool, let's do it. And I pulled into the rest area. And even though it was a great day, I was sunny as crazy. And on top of it, I pulled into the Roy Rogers, ordered a cup of coffee, sat by the window and by the door, and waited for this bright red car to emerge out of the grayness. And on cue, you're not gonna believe, the skies opened up and it poured and it poured and it poured. I was afraid of the convertible getting flooded. So I figured she stopped by to close the top and come over. And I waited. And I ordered a second cup of coffee and I waited. It was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. And it was about an hour. And I decided she was a no-show. Suddenly, my mood went from gray to bright sunny to total dark. I somehow figured it out. And as the rain tapered off, I went to the car, drove home, went back to my bed. And I said, shucks, that was a soulmate of a lifetime. And I missed out on her. And I hit the radio button on my alarm clock. And the song Pina Colada came. And I went into blackness.
Perfect. Thank you so much. In fact, little short, few seconds short of 5 minutes. Thank you very much. The desire for the car, and then finding your what you thought was your heartthrob and probably your life partner, and then you know, the sadness. Well, Kleenex tissues around, but I didn't use them. So thank you very much, Raj, for your story. That was interesting. Could we please have Nasreen tell us her story? Nasreen,
can I say
yours?
something? Just 1 minute?
Yeah.
I want to thank my parents for giving me birth. Because Raji thanked someone and I want to thank somebody.
Okay. Thank you. That's beautiful. Nasreen?
Yes.
Nasreen, 1 second. I'll be spotlighting your video. Thanks, Raj. Yes. Yes, Nasreen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be sharing a very personal experience of mine. I hope you enjoy listening to it, and also the hidden message behind it will be conveyed through the narration. Well, this happened 6 years ago when my husband and I traveled to Medina, which is like Makkah. It is a city, the city where the Prophet is buried, and alongside the Prophet, even his daughter Fatima is buried. Now, the issue is that uh, in the Saudi, they they do not. It's a Sunni country, and they do not believe in the successors of the Prophet. So, unlike the Prophet's doom, which is very beautifully made and very and people throng from all over the world, uh, Fatima's burial is, it's still sand. There's absolutely no. You cannot even identify that she is buried there. But I'm a staunch Shia Muslim, and we really believe in her, and we cannot even express our true. We cannot, the religious practices that we follow, we cannot express it in the Saudi. It is so bad. We can be punished for that. So nobody, the women are not allowed to enter this zone also. So before going there, I mentally prepared myself that come what may, I will see that at least I get a glimpse of this place. Now this place, if I do not, I hope, I wish I could have shared a slide with you. It's actually built around these huge walls. So unless you get into a building and you're on the 10th floor of that building, you cannot see the burial site also. But I had heard of people, one of our leaders who went and stayed in a suite where his room was on the 10th floor, and he would see it. The men are allowed, the women are not allowed. The men are allowed to enter this place, the women are not allowed. So it became all the more challenging for me, because I felt that I'm going all the way from India, and I don't know when again I would ever go there. So I prepared my mind that come what may, I'll try my level best. So we arrive in Medina, and the first day, I just went and looked around the hotels that were around this, this burial place. So I entered this one hotel, and there is heavy security on the terraces of these hotels. We can actually see, and if you're caught, you know how the Saudi is, you can be punished, you're jailed. But I took the risk, and I entered one hotel, and I took the elevator, and I went up to the terrace, the last floor. So it was locked. So I was a little disappointed, but still somewhere something said just keep going. And as soon as I come to the, I think it was the 15th floor, and I come to the 14th floor, I see this, Bangladeshi boy, and he is just looking at me, and suddenly in his hands I see a bunch of keys. And I just looked at him into his eyes, and I said, "Can you please open the terrace for me?" Without even asking him who, what, nothing. He just uttered this word, and he did not say anything. He just took me right up, opened the terrace door, and because I was dressed, in my burqa, and I was also carrying my books, so he knew that this was the purpose. He didn't say anything, and he just took me. He also took a huge risk by taking me up there. He took me up. I went there, and as soon as I went there, I didn't waste a single minute. I just started praying. I looked at the burial. I could see the burial site, and I was very happy that I could see it with my eyes. Though I could not step on the land, but at least I could see it. And then I just told him thank you, and I asked him, "What made you? How did you know that I just wanted to do this?" Then he said, "I don't know. I really don't know what happened, and what connection. I really don't understand exactly what vibration you sent to me, but I just felt like taking you, listening to you, like as if he was hypnotized by my whatever I said." So and then I did not stop at that. I told him, I'm staying here for another 5 days. I'm going to be coming every day, so please do this for me. And the next 5 days, every day I was there, because it was a huge risk that I had taken, but finally it paid off. And after that day, we both had become very good friends. And and I introduced him to my husband, and I told my husband, "Look, this is." I had not even told my husband that, "See, this is, I'm doing this, to just view the Baki," because the men are allowed; they can go freely, but the women weren't allowed. So after the 5th day, I told him, and well, I think my time is up. So
So this is the story, and what I have to convey is miracles do happen. They're waiting to happen, and just don't stop believing in whatever you want to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nasrin. That was a beautiful personal story, a glimpse into your faith and the agony that your sect of people face. Thank you for sharing your pain and the joy, because above everything in this world is the divine hand, and it guides us. Thanking, the God, your God, for showing you the way and making it possible for you to see what you really wanted to see. It is beautiful. Yes, miracles do happen. Thank you very much once again for sharing your beautiful story. Sri Lata, could you please come on and share your story with us?
Okay. 1 second, Sri. I have to spotlight you. Nisreen, you can switch off your video. Spotlighting you, Sri. Yes.
Okay. There was this little seedling inside a very warm, dark room, growing very happy and growing into a beautiful human being. Until all of a sudden, this half-grown human being found itself in a dark, cold room and suddenly felt cold, shivery, and didn't know why this was happening. And all of a sudden, she heard strange language and sounds and some images flashing before her. And there she was looking at a woman. God knows what was happening, but evidently that woman was very scared. And this little seedling felt all those emotions and continued for a couple of hours to feel those emotions, feel the cold, feel all of it, and wanting to get out of that situation. She turned, twisted, turned around, but just couldn't find a way out. And then everything went blank, and she was back to feeling warm, and everything was okay, but the images lingered. And that feeling of feeling cold lingered, though she was warm inside, wherever it was that she was. So she still felt uncomfortable and wanted to get out of that situation, when suddenly she felt something tickling her toes and the bottom of her feet, and wondered what was happening. And then she found herself being twisted and turned, and again she didn't know why, but there it was. Suddenly she was on the top of a sliding board and slid down. And she opened her eyes to see nice bright lights, and she was happy with that. But nothing could remove those feelings from her. Cold, dark rooms continued to haunt her, though she learned the language that she heard. And she's probably talking to you in that language right now. She learned it very well. But she also remembered those fears that she felt a very long time ago, and continues to remember those feelings, and has a horror of horrors. Still doesn't like, 60 years down the line, she still doesn't like to go into cold, dark rooms. And she is all the modern gadgetry of air conditioners. None of it has ever interested her. Give her an open room with all windows open and she is the happiest person. Let the street lights come in. She is very happy over there. Oh my God. Street lights and open windows, you name it, and she is all set to, and she can sleep. Believe me, she can sleep in such a situation. It doesn't bother her. Any amount of noise, none of those bothers her. But you put her once again into a cold room and into a dark room, and she is okay with all those sounds that she once heard. because evidently she's learned those sounds, and those sounds have, got meaning into her life right now. But she still can't reconcile to all of that. So the fears remain. And there's one more part of this, that she always looks at herself in the mirror and she sees thin, straggly hair. And then she always remembers that she left behind a lot of hair on that sliding board. And she remembers being she came out without any of that hair that she once had before she landed on that sliding board. So there it is. So she's learned to live with her thin, straggly hair. She's learned to live with her fears, but no fears, no cold, dark rooms. Her husband lives in horror of ACs because she lives in horror of ACs. And he is willing to live with that, with the light streaming into his room, all of it, be it day or night. That's it. But life goes on. And strangely enough, she went on to have a daughter who goes into rooms where ghosts fear to tread.
Thank you, Srilata. A very intriguing way of telling the story. I wonder if it is your own personal story. So it leaves the audience. It leaves the audience wondering, and so there's wonder in your story about tackling the fears, but still at the same moment continuing to learn to live with those fears, and yet trying to enjoy the openness somewhere, someplace. So that is a pretty deep story, and thank you very much, Srilata, for sharing it with us. Is Victor in? He'll be the last storyteller for today. Shailaja?
I don't think Victor is in. I don't see him. So we're done with Victor. Are you in? I don't see Victor. Okay, so there is all the 8 people, right, Asha?
Yeah, 8 people and wonderful stories. I would just, want to touch upon the styles of storytelling. I found 2 distinct styles of storytelling: conversational with Ganesh Ji's, and the narrative style with Nina and Sujata. And Homais was again a very expressive style of telling the story. Personal stories tend to be more narrative in some ways, but I found Ganesh Ji's very interesting because it was more conversational style. So I loved the various styles of telling, the various emotions that came through, the expressions. But I would like to stress upon the fact that for a storyteller, you need to play with the 3 main assets that each one of us has: the face, the facial expressions, the voice modulation, and the body that we have, the gestures, so the body language. So the stories were very interesting, but yes, like I said initially, all of us are storytellers. So to be a storyteller who's spotlighted and on stage and going in front of an audience, we need to play upon these 3 elements, these 3 gifts that we have. All we have to do is just play upon all these 3. Once again, I repeat: facial expressions, voice modulation, and the body language and gesture. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful treat of stories. Thank you so very much, all of you storytellers. And thank you once again, CR team and Shailaja especially, for giving this platform for stories. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shailaja.
Thanks, Asha. So
thank you to the audience. I forgot. Thank you to the audience.
Asha is a storyteller who has been telling stories for a number of years now. And we come across different kinds of storytelling, especially because it's a film club. There's this whole art of writing a story. Not everybody who writes a story is very good at narrating a story, which is why when people go and pitch stories, film scripts to people, the art of storytelling, depending on the audience, becomes very important. Asha went into the details of the different storytelling, but I specifically want to thank all those new people who are not Cinema Rendezvous members, family members, or friends of the 9 storytellers. Have we got all the 9 storytellers on video now? I asked to eight now. I requested them to switch on their videos, and yes, it's on. So thanks to all the family members and friends who came to cheer them in. Thank you so much. And people like, I know Homa has been working with a storyteller, getting a whole set of stories for children ready. As a grandmother, she has grandchildren. She finds it interesting. Thanks to her teacher. And like Raji said, Praveena. So it's wonderful that we hear Raji did mono acting. It's not storytelling what Raji attempted. So Praveena's input on that was very interesting. And wanted to say that this whole thing, each person has handled one thing, which is wonderful. When Nina tells about, making peace with her own, so the story from life, whether it was about their tennis career. So we are accepting things, making peace, confronting things in our life, or so many things like that through these stories, which is very interesting. And again, it was interesting. I think we had stories from, in just this room full of 29 or 30 people, we had stories from Middle East, from the USA, from Tanjavur, from Andhra, from Bengal. It was wonderful. Pardon?
Yeah.
Srirangam.
Yeah, Srirangam. So I broadly
That has a, let me please interrupt. Asha and me met.
Get my video going.
No, Asha and me met after her trip to Srirangam. There is a connect there. We met.
So I chose to keep it, like I didn't go into the detail of which part of US, I chose to keep it Tanjavur belt broadly for it. So it's really nice that that happened.
Excuse me, Shailaja, I'm not able to get my video going.
Yeah, so I had actually requested the participants to
Something about, you cannot turn your video because the host has disabled it.
1 second, because last time you could still switch it on. You're under which name? Aarti, right?
Aarti Narayan, yeah.
So I have to look for you because yes, because I've been requesting the participants alone to turn on the video. I'm requesting again. Okay, so the rest of the people, sorry, I had to say not to put those comments. In between you can, but storytelling time, it was better you did. But you can share your comments now. Does anybody want to share something specific? Please unmute yourself, switch on your video and keep it crisp to the point and do share your thoughts. We are about 1 hour into the meeting. Anybody else who wants to share is welcome to share, please. We will have next month's storytelling is going to be a little different. It's about pitching scripts to producers.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing that specifically, and we are going to get a couple of writers to do that also. So it will go on into more professional modes. It will not be just kept in a social avatar alone, so that we all get, I've always, I think for the last 15, 18 plus years, though I haven't done it personally myself because running other stuff, I think women can write wonderful stories. Men, especially when you're not in your very busy phase, can still write wonderful stories, even if you don't come from the profession of cinema or storytelling. Anybody else from the participants? Like Sujata's, anybody else who came in because your friend or your relative was telling a story is welcome to share your thought. Maithili was sharing few thoughts there. Anybody like that? Praveena?
Praveena, please.
Sorry, Shailaja, I just wanted to mention, out of the 8 people, we had 6 of them telling personal stories.
Yes.
Srilata's was also a personal story. And we had only Homai and Raji narrate stories of other types. So you see, the personal stories have such a great impact on our lives, and that is what makes them so special. Yeah. Thank you very much once again for the different styles and the different stories. Loved it. Love them all.
I request
Thank you so much.
Other guests also to please unmute yourself. If you do not have too much background noise, please unmute yourself.
I just want to say a big thank you to Asha, for being a fantastic moderator this morning. And I think, and also telling us, you went deeply into everything. You were very, very attentive, because I think you caught everything that we trying to convey. So thank you very much, sweetheart. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shaila, I love your new initiatives every time you bring out different things in us. So just keep at it, girl. Okay. Thank you, Shaila. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And hi, Shailaja, can I say something? And
Yes.
okay, hey Asha, thanks for
Yeah.
coordinating. Really enjoyed it, and you're fun. A lot of times I try to egg you on into a discussion. You didn't fall for my bait. That's excellent of you. And Shailaja, as always, it was fun. And I told the story, so there's another storytelling session. I'll tell you in part 2 what happened.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
with that, adios.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
We
Anybody
look forward to that, Raj.
Yes, a sense of humor.
Okay.
Others?
Yeah, I can
I
say
also,
something.
one other quick, sorry, one other quick thing. Asha, you chuckled in the middle of my talk. I noticed.
Yes. I couldn't
And
stop myself because there's a little bit of humor there.
Yes, and I try to hide all my humor, but you reacted, and that chuckle threw me off for 3 seconds. I just want you to know that I noticed. And it was exactly at the spot when I said I was smart at that. I was smart, but at that time, what I said, and you chuckled. So,
Yes.
thank you.
And the audience reactions also get to you. So that was a bit of the audience reaction.
Correct.
May I say
enjoyed it.
Okay. One second. Anybody else who wants to say something?
Anu Agarwal wants to say.
Yeah.
Please raise your hand. And I just want to bring one thing to notice. What happens in a direct storytelling, and Homai, I noticed your finger up, we will do that. There's a little difference between Zoom sessions and direct storytelling sessions. In a Zoom session, you need to give them that space of not having interruptions, because everything is a lot more pronounced here. It's on your face.
True.
In a direct session, you have a certain amount of distance between the audience and us. They will not get disturbed as much unless it is a baby wailing or somebody. So when somebody has taken the effort to put the garland here and do all those things, I like to give them that, which is why we wanted everybody to be muted and not be disturbed. I think the storytellers will appreciate that. It makes a difference between the physical space and online space. Yes, Anu? Yeah.
Well, I came in to be in the session because I too love to tell stories, and like Hume, I have my grandchildren and I have been telling them lot of stories. But today I got to hear a different angle. It was like, personal stories. Most of them have said personal stories. And I think sometimes from personal stories also you learn a lot. So it was really interesting, a good session. And hats off to you, Shailaja, for bringing new ideas every time.
Combined effort, and when we had a storyteller in between us, I just grabbed to use that opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
And one more thing I wanted to say, but before that, anybody else?
May I?
Come in? Yes, Srilata.
I just have to appreciate the two of you, Asha and Shailaja. Shailaja, of course, things on her toes. And, she's always coming out with something new. Fantastic. I'm happy to be here for that. And Asha, really good that you could do chuckling and keep the timing and everything going and, get the essence of these stories and, make a comment on every one of them. Fabulous multitasking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sri. And yeah, so with Nina around, I knew I didn't have to do the vote of thanks. It was done. And Asha,
Did Homai want to say? One second. Did Homai want to say something?
wanted to say something. Somebody else also has raised their hand, Sushi or somebody. Yes, Homai, and then we'll go to that. So, Homai, you have to unmute yourself, Puta.
I must thank Ash because as you can see, I'm walking. I'm doing a 10-kilometer walk today for Sports Day. And I requested her to put me first, and she's such a darling, has all the patience for me with all the questions I asked. Thanks a million. And Shail, I behaved myself today. I never gave the Zoom thing to anybody. Like last time I made a mess. Thank you, Shail. I love you.
Thank
Both of
you.
you.
We can see you walking, which is very nice. And yes, Asha, by interacting with all the 8 to 9 storytellers, took a big burden away, which is very interesting. No, you were requested to share the Zoom link because this time we had everybody in Zoom. But there are times we may not keep everybody in Zoom. We might just have the storytellers in Zoom and have the rest watching it live on Facebook. So we are trying out different things. We are all checking out a lot of these things. And for Srilata and people, right from the time we locked down, the first month only, we had character sketch writing. So we have been trying several of these things. We just want everybody to come participate when you can, and also not feel like, so the attempt is also, why did we have Asha here? Because she has been telling stories professionally. So there is some input we'll get from her, and we all grow on it together. That is why. Any of the guests want to say anything?
Child,
I want to say something.
Yes, Sujata.
Yes, thank you so much, Shailaja. It was a lot of nostalgia for me to go back to my tennis. Thanks, Asha. Thank you so much.
And I just want to take to appreciate people like Sujata and Nina and few others coming in. There's something about Zoom etiquette. I mean, since we are just a smaller group of 12 people, and I know a number of you are pretty active with Zoom and things. Hari Prasad, let's see you. Please, the others also, please show the video. So something about Zoom, when you see Sujata's frame or something, she has, because she's working on it, all of us have been working on it from the first month. Effort has been taken to see that there's light on the face. You know, we learn little things. Can we frame like this? How do we cut head space? For the storytelling, how do we use hand, keep the space around for the hand, come closer. So it's interesting when we all keep exploring like that, and we'll have a lot of inputs from people like Hari and who work on sound, or somebody like Ram who's inside, who's working on video, Anto who's a photographer. So a lot of inputs where we all can share these things with each other. And this is my time to say for the next month, yes, Asha, I'll come to you. Next month, we actually did have plans to, like how I do in my NIFT class, in Cinema Rendezvous, to go into specific subjects like sound of cinema and all that. But I don't know how many will be really tuned into that. We may not do that, but story pitching is what we are going to do next time. And Ram and some of you all are going to be very active on that, about how stories are pitched to producers. We will get a producer to listen, and we will have short film stories being pitched. That's something we will be doing. So if you have young people, friends, or older people who are there to pitch stories for their short films, we'd like you to connect them to us.